And I'm live. That is pretty cool. Today is 12th of February 2026, Thursday. And with that, let's begin programming. Working on the chess game. Today, the goal, let's see how far we can achieve in this. The goal would be to add game functionality in which we have to write a function which takes in two WebSockets and establishes a game between the two and validates the moves which are sent by players, updates the move to the other player, tracks the time when the move was made, and then at the end of the game, like sees the winner and everything, and saves the game onto the backend. That would be it. And shit, let's see how it goes. Okay, let's set and shit, team exit. Okay, cool. And target chess, and that should be easy. 3,400 minus 3,366 sounds okay. Okay, that is good. Okay, shit, yes, I added this copilot.vim because, yeah, just because. Update and synchronize and 188. Okay, shit, think I, I think I messed up this. Ah, shit, okay. This hello.txt was there to show my friend something, but I added this to a git commit. Okay. Yeah, shit. Okay, I messed up. And here, what do we have? Access. I think in this, the last thing that we did is added authentication we added authentication to WebSockets. Socket connection. So that to establish a connection, you must have a valid token. And that is a cool thing. And not just that, added authentication and fix keys. And also we have to make it so that our keys are not visible. Keys.json, does that work? Yes. No. How do we remove things from the stage? How to remove things from get stage and audio? Yes, okay, audio is clear and cool. Git restore staged. Okay, git restore stage, git status, and yep, keys.json is not here anymore. Git amend feature fixed keys or to socket. Good enough. We push region main. Yep, so we now have authentication for sockets. Now that is good enough. We have authentication for sockets. Not in the APIs. Interfaces. Uh, no, this helper. This will be a helper function, which will be called by some of the function here. Nope, not here in the APIs. Access start game. Yep. Okay, from this part. When this code runs, we need a helper function which runs the game. And now there is, yep, we need a helper function which runs the game, but we have defined before running a game the class here. There is a class called this memory, and this class has methods related to establishing a game but not running a game. Now, I guess we can create a class which runs a game, or we can we can just write a function which runs a game. Okay, we can call it game logic dot ts. That sounds good enough. Okay, const. This is going to be a function. Run rapid game. Run rapid game and APIs. Yep, establish game. And yep, this part is going to call the run rapid game function. LEGWS is the type. Index.ts. No, no. Okay. Yeah. This takes in two things. The WebSocket 1, which is of type LEGWS, and WS2, LEGWS, and export this function. Starting a game between, there has to be backtick for string formatting. Here, WS1 dot data dot, it is not going to be inside data because this function does not know how the data of this WebSocket is going to be. Okay. It does not know. So instead of canvas, we are going to give this thing a game list, and I think we should change the name game list to something else. This type game list to something else, and I think this is the second place where game list is being imported. Instead of game list, game object, user game object. I think maybe user game object, user game object being imported, declared but never used. Yep, substitute game list with user game object, and we are good here. And memory also, I think, yeah, substitute game list with user game object, and we are good to go. Okay, and instead of Alicia, the type of this thing is user G object WS1 and WS2, and instead of WS, because this is not our socket any longer, we'll say user1 or play user1, user2, user1 dot username, and user2 dot username. User1 came here first, and then came user2. A, and here starting again, that would not be their concern. Other user dot get run rapid game give current user, nope, not other player, and current player, and anytime end the function after this. Okay, and we also need to log the time somehow. Yep, we need to log the time when the game began. Okay, let's see if we can start a rapid game now. Server is listening at 2000. Last two errors. We created this user at some point, and new we got error. Nice. Lolos 2000. Why? What is the error? This get. Oh, I think the token expired. Let's create a new user. Then user 5. User 6. Okay, we have token for user 6. Okay, no, that is not the right thing. Copy. Double one is user 6. Okay, that is cool. And let's create another user to establish game between the two. Send. And okay, we have another user. Copy. Hopefully it is copied, and we get different cookies. Okay, cool. And now slash new slash rapid. That is the endpoint, I guess. Yep, slash new slash rapid. I think instead of new, we should say slash game slash rapid slash new slash game slash new slash rapid. Prefix. Okay. Connect, and we are not able to connect because the header is wrong. That is also wrong. Bearer space. We were in sys. copy, and we'll tell G and connect. Connection established. If we make another connection to the same URL, now this header authorization, bearer space, and okay, and we connect. And is there a game between the two players? Yep. Use this wants to play a rapid game. New connection is started with user 16. 16 is the ID, not the username. Is different. User 7 and started a game between user 6 and user 7. Cool. Cool. That is cool. Pretty cool. Working. And this would still happen if we were to. Okay, I think there is a problem with the keys now. Yep. Okay. No, no problem with the keys. The server was off. Yep. No problem with the keys. Cool. Starting a game between this and this. Not starting. Started game logic. That is working. New connection is started with this. Okay, and API also we are doing a log. Yep, we are doing a log. We are doing a log. Okay, that is not good. We should only log at one place. Okay. Okay, now we have to actually write the game log. Game logic. Okay. What will happen? Okay. We will call this function, which has to user game objects to user game objects, and we have to start a game between these two people. And how do we do that? When our function has, yep, shit, who is white and who is black? Yes, that is the first information that will go to the user. And for now, we should have, we actually should have the user decide which color they should choose. Yep, either they are black. What do they want to play? Do they want to play white? Do they want to play black? Or do they want to just play random? Yep, and that suggests that we will have three lists for each game. Okay, yep. But this could all be custom, and building the lists is not good. Maybe instead of this, we should create an object, a dictionary, key value pair, where the key would be something like black, white, or random. And that in itself maybe might have a list, or it might have another object in which we will search by time. How much time do they want to play with? Which sounds better than writing three functions for the same thing. Yep, and the function would take in the colors of the players, and also, yep, the function would take in the colors of the players and the time and the increment as input. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so what are the things which can uniquely identify a game? One would be time and increment. And these two things we can give to the function which is handling the game logic instead of writing three different lists. Okay, so refactoring. We are going to refactor now. Yep, we are going to refactor now. Yep, database memory. Instead of having three lists, we will have a single big list, not a list, but the object. Okay, and what are the things required? These things, time and increment and color. COLOR, correct spelling. Color. What should be the color? What is the, does the player have a preference in color? And okay, we need a hierarchy of selecting or disregarding games, selecting games. First, we will find all the games with the required color, all the games with the required color. If the current user wants to play as black, then we will look at all the users who want to play white, or all the users who want to play with a random color and give them white color. Or if a user wants to play as white, then we will look at games where a user wants to play as black or random. And when random, we can just choose from anything. Red, white, random, and black. Okay, that is good. Okay, so first of all, we will sort through the color. And when we have done that, we will sort through time. What is the time that the user wants to play for? Yep, and times would only be multiples of minutes. Yep, shit. But if that is going to happen, we also have to update the backend because backend has three lists. Shit. You also have to update the backend. Rapid games, bullet games, blitz games, and ratings are also three. Shit, we have to refactor the backend. If this is the thing that we are going to do, we have to refactor the database. Shit, how are we going to store this information? We can just store this information. How do you store this information? Okay. Games. For games, we can just add two more rows. Yep, we can just add two more rows, and those rows would have the time and the increment, and we are good. And actually, we can categorize each game, no matter what their time or increment is, into three categories, which would be rapid, blitz, and bullet. If the time is, shit, we have to decide. Hello, how are you doing? If the time is like 1 minute to less than 3 minutes, if the range is, shit, I think for blitz, I will have to see. The range would be 1 is the smallest till less than 3. 3 is not included, 1 is included. If the time is this, with any amount of increment, then this is going to be, yep, then this is going to be blitz. And for bullet, 3 up till, we will have to see. And for rapid, 10 is for sure there in the range. Let's see. ChatGPT or we never do. Yep. 1 minute. 1 minute for blitz. Yep. What is the range? Because the player can have multiple. Wait, we can go to chess.com and see. Because if a user chooses to play a game of 2 minutes, what is that going to be called? In which category? Or why do we need to categorize the game? We can here in the backend make a separate category for custom games. That is one thing we can do. And for Blitz, Bullet, and Rapid, we will have fixed times 10, 3, and 1. Bullet, 1 minute. Okay, all of these are 1 minute. Rapid, 10, 15, 10, 30 minutes. These are rapid and daily. We do not support daily. We do not support anything yet. We have to write the code for it. Okay, they have fixed categories if they want to categorize. And for custom challenges, more time controls. Can we not give? Yes, we can give custom time. If I give like 6 minutes, uh, 10 seconds, increment would be 1 second. Does that work? That does work, and it is blitz somehow. You Yes, it is blitz. More time control. If this was like 4 minutes, then again it is blitz. The problem is in rating. How do we define the rating? Because at different match types, there are different ratings for players. For rapid, there is a different rating. For blitz, different. For bullet, there is a different rating. And if the player can give any random time, whatever they want, then which rating should we update? New note. Here, there are like 4 categories in chess.com. So which rating should be updated? I think, yep, we can just categorize a game depending on which of this category we add the game into, and that will be the rating which we update. Yep, and that makes sense, and that is Ragnar logbook. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. If okay, that makes sense. So for rapid, the game and the time accepted time is 10 minutes. For blitz, 3 minutes, and for rapid, it is 1 minute. And if a game's time limit is closer, whichever game category the current limit is closer to, that will be the category in which it goes. If a game lasts for 6 minutes, then it would be categorized as blitz because it is yeah, the distance is 3 with blitz, and with rapid the distance is 4. And if the game was 7 minutes, then it would be rapid. Okay, so the ranges would be smallest 1 minute, rap rapid would contain 1 till 1.5, Let's say even 2, 1 to 2, and if anything higher than 2, that would be blitz. Then blitz would be 2, 2 not included, up up to 7 minutes, let's say. 7, let's 7 is a bit too much. I think 6 is fine. Or we can choose 7, but the 7 would not be included. Yep. 7 would be rapid, and everything below 7 would be blitz. Then for rapid, 7 included to till infinity, or whatever the highest range would be. That looks good enough, good enough, good enough. And that would be the rating which we do update according to our algorithm, ELO algorithm. Okay, that is cool. That is cool. This is about the database part. This is about the database part. How are we going to store the game in the database? Yep. How are we going to store the game in the database? And we need to add now 2 more rows, one for time and one for increment. And for game also we have to do that. For rating, do we have to add? For rating, do we add the time? No. No, we do add the time, but we do not add the. Yes, we do not add the time. We will not add the time in the ratings. That does not make sense. Yep, we will only add time. We'll only add the time in the game. Cool. So we have to change the database a little bit. And for how the backend thing is happening in the memory, we will find the game through an object where we will have a hierarchy of object. One object, the higher level object, where the key would be the time and the value would be another object. No, shit. The key would be, okay, highest level key would not be key, would not be time. Highest level key, we will keep it to color. Which color do we want? Do we want a random color? Do we want a black color or white? Cool. And then we will get another object where that key time would be time. That key would be time. That key would be time. Yeah. And now again, we can keep 3 different objects, one object for each of these categories, or we can have a big massive object. And I think maybe having a big massive object is fine. There might not be any difference between having a big massive object and a smaller one. Yep, because at the lookup time we do not have to look up which object to look the time in. Yep, so we will have a big massive object. So second thing would be a time, which would give us another object. We could have this object's key as the increment. So this, I think, uniquely would identify a player's intention for a game, the color that the player wants, the time that they want, and the increment that they want. But I think we can keep the time and the increment in a single thing, where the first digits would be the time, then a semicolon, and then the second digits would be the increment. That sounds okay. And time is going to be only increments of minutes. And increment is, yeah, increment is going to be increment. Increment is going to be in seconds and time is going to be in minutes. Okay, and then we will get a list of objects which identify our player. Hello. Yep, two is, wait, two is not rapid. Bullet is here. Rapid, blitz, and bullets. Bullet. Shit, okay, two rapid. My bad, I did mess up. Bullet. Yep. Nice to spot that. My bad. Yeah, and we have to update the database so that we have game link and we will have time. Shit, we have two times. Game time, which is going to be an integer, and the unit is going to be. How do we give comment here? SQL file comments. Get this thing. Unit is minutes and game time and increment time. Unit is seconds. Cool. Rapid minutes and minutes. Okay. Changes made on the backend, which we can update. And now there has to be change in the global object. This is static. We will call this game queue. Yes, with the correct spelling. Game queue is of what is going to be the type of this game queue. Game queue is going to be an object. Yep. How do we define the type of an object? Hello. Okay, that is love coming. Why are you writing everything? What do you mean? Uh, you want me to like use AI here? I can use AI for questioning things, but then I will write the code myself because this is for learning. So, yep, learning is good if I'm writing the code myself. How to define uh, object type in the TypeScript? No, not this. Type alias. Nope. How to define not okay. So instead of object, I should have like dictionary type in TypeScript. That makes sense. Interface is this, where the key is of type this and the value is of type something. Interface dictionary value. Okay. Database the export interface game queue object I think is fine. Okay, where the key is the first level key would be single character. We do not have characters. We do not have characters, and we do not have to use literal full word black, BLACK, when we want to look for all the users who want to play as black. We can use B, but that also just does not help because we do not have a character type in JavaScript. So we would still be looking for a string. So what we could do is we can say 0 means black, 1 means white, and 2 means random, random, any color. CP rank it is, and hello. Shit, bro won't stop. See, right now my rank is 13 something, 1300. Yeah, 1357. But that is not also very helpful because it would be pretty cool. Enums, shit, yes, enum. We will have a enum called, how do you define it? Shit, that is how you define a enum. Black, white, and random. Shit, enum is like much better. Yeah, enum is much better. So we will have a key whose type is going to be enum and va- so that is how we define. Yes, that is how we define. And the value is, let's say for now, string, but that is not the right thing. You cannot. An index signature parameter type cannot be literal type. Shit. But this thing says key. Record, using record type utility. Record is a built-in TypeScript utility that is often cleaner, provides better type safety, especially when using a set of key. Okay, let's use record then. Record, okay. Type dictionary type, okay. Type game view type equal record. That is yes, that is how we do this. Key is color string that checks out. Cool. Color and key is going to be a string, but nope, it is going to be another record. Another record, okay. And that record will have, like we decided, first color and then time and increment. So it is going to be a string, and that thing will finally have this user game object. Not user game object directly, user game object list. Cool. Yep. GameQ is going to be of type user. Okay, yeah, spelling is wrong. GameCube object. And is rapid game is not a valid question now. Is game is a valid question. Where we given time and the color and time which is going to be a string. And what we will check for is if GameCube, this dot GameCube bracket color, if there is something in this color, this thing will return a object. This thing will return an object. Yep, this thing will return an object. I think we should have an init thing which starts this memory thing at the start. Yep. Init class, init memory. Uh, no, I do not watch much cricket. And shit, you are like still at it. Um, Arigato, I guess. Shit. For color or color which is an enum and shit. Proceed of thing type. Color is an enum. An enum in JavaScript. Can we not? We typically use plain objects to simulate enums. Okay. TypeScript. Have an enum trait over values for each object dot values direction. Iterate over keys over values. We do not want to iterate over values. We do want to iterate over keys. Object dot keys direction and object dot entries dot for each for both keys and values. So we will use object dot uh, yeah, we need both. We need both. Object dot entries for color dot for each. Here GameCube dot insert this dot this dot GameCube dot 0 on Well, value also does not work. Explicitly type any. Guess we have to do this manually then. GameCube bracket color card. Black. This thing. Blitzby has type any what. Cannot find name. Once. Okay, shit. Type number. Okay, B was capital. Black, and we have to establish this to be equal to it. Key not found, it will come in handy later on. Color. Color will have a string and an object. Cool. GameCube. Byte equals dot GameCube. Color dot random. Equals. So anyone is here? Should you are like asking, is anywhere anyone else here? I guess not. You are the only person. This dot GameCube and random. Okay, we have empty objects now. Can we just search? No, this just guarantees that this thing is going to give us an object. Yep, into which we can search if an object as a key in TypeScript. Just that. In, if this in. Yep. If time in. Okay, and shit, we for this to work, the caller has to know what the unit of time has to be, what the time has to look like. So, which is not a very good thing for to be expected. So, number and time and increment number, and you can just say here key is going to be time slash increment. Uh, Kill terminal window. Yes, kill terminal window. Increment. Okay. So here this plus, or we could use a back tick here. Nope, legit. If time increment in game.q. If there is, then what do we return? We say true. or we could directly return this. Cool. Is game is working now. Is static is add game. This is going to take in what was it called? User game object game unique user game object. Yes, game object color instead of that color and mm, time number and increment is also number and then this and this thing just doesn't return anything. This says what works, void works. This game to color dot color bracket. Okay, first we have to check if this game exists or not. If time is going to be if this time t in this game to if time key is already there or fetched it. If time key not not in this, then add this time key. So color time key is yes, and then game queue color time key dot push game object. Possibly what object is which part of this object is possibly undefined. If time key exists, then add. Wait a minute. Phone is probably not charging shit. It is. Good. Anyone? No. In the game key. Okay, the list possibly might be null is what they are asking for. The list might be null. But if the key does exist, then the list must exist. If the key does exist, then the value must also exist. Okay, okay, yeah, that's fine. And we go back to this. Hmm, the key does not exist, then create the key and then add the game object. We can just add any random game object that we want. That is pretty cool. And now we would like to get any random game object that we want. Get not just this, just get game. But there are some things. Give us the color, give us the time, and give us the increment. Time key. Or we could either make time key here, or we could have a helper function which takes in time and increment and gives us a time key, which is pretty cool. Get time key is which a thing which takes time, that is a number, and increment which is also a number, and returns with back tick. What does the back tick look like? We have it right here. Yep. Back tick, return. For now, it is just time semicolon. And at some point, we will have to like destructure this back to normal thing. So we will need get time and and increment. The thing takes in time key and is going to return two numbers. Number. Yep. Yep. Time key dot add semicolon split it or time key or split at semicolon and dot map v parsing v convert that thing into a feature. If time dot size or length is not equal to 2, exactly 2, then throw invalid size error, invalid time key error. And what is this error? This error should be defined in helper, which has all the errors. I don't actually have to say error. That's it. That is given. The time key given or provided cannot be parsed back into time and increment. That is good. invalid time key. Otherwise, if there is no invalid time key, then return times bracket 0 and times 1. That's what if return was invalid return. Time equals there is no inlet has to be specifically a number. If this thing is not equal to undefined question mark, then give times 0 times 0 and 1. That does not work. If this thing is undefined question mark, then return 1. Otherwise, times 0 and here increment 1. And then return time and in here we can even here give names. We can. Cool. And so instead of this here like this, hit time key and time and increment and here also get time key and time and increment and here also get time key with time and increment. That looks good enough. How long has been? Hello. Yep. Old. I was also unable to stream yesterday. Uh, time key const time key is get time key. What is the name? Get game. So first we have to check if is game with color, time, and increment. If not is game, then throw invalid game. Invalid game error. Now what is this invalid game error? That is a new kind of error. Invalid time key. Invalid game actually. You were asking for a game that doesn't exist. Hallucination. Invalid game. Okay. Now after this, when we do know that the game does exist, we would like to pop that game out. This go to the color, go to the Time key. Which thing has this dot? Game view. If we do have the list now, dot pop. Do we get the game in return when we pop? We might, or we might get undefined, which we probably wouldn't because we are checking beforehand. Hello. Okay, first we are checking for the game, and then we are popping the game out. Pop, Popeye. Game not, George not found. Shit, game not found. Which we should. Game not found? Why were we using this error before and game not found? Error was being used. Why this is in database memory? Game not found. When get game, which is this. Okay, shit. Game not found. Which is a better error than invalid game. Okay, that seems to be good. When we start the thoroughly init memory, we check for is there a game, not specifically rapid, but add any game to the list. And now the difference between this and the earlier code is here we had separate functions. Get blitz game, get bullet game, get rapid game. Now we have a single function, get game, which takes in color, time, and increment and returns the game. That is cool. And also I would like to have a like little shit. Oh, your messages are being deleted somehow. I would like to have a little feedback, like how is the voice? I am not using the mic, I'm using something else. Uh, Wait, finally, my toy backend project is complete. Shit, yes, you did say you were going to do backend. It has been hell working with JS. I don't know, but I don't find it to be as beautiful as a language as something like Go is built. Okay, shit. Go is built by like fucking Ken Thompson. So Go is pretty cool. How do I go to a child? Wait, shit. How do you go? Cannot believe you seriously took on making such a complex project that too for start. This is yes, but you do not have to think about all the complexity right now. Like right now, I am not thinking about the front end, and I am only thinking about adding a thing to a list or popping that thing from the list. And this is a thing that I have learned, so that is good. Yep, now it's fine. Cool. This is good. Didn't change much. Shade. Okay, it is beautiful. Not only cool. Go. Go is and you should some I guess this is you are 14 years old and you are like yeah, I think this is what 14-year-olds do with Pokemon like simping and stuff, but this is not like that. This is a bit different than that. But yeah, you can like probably do something else right now instead of giving heart here. Like take CS50 or oh shit, you are 14 years old. There is something that I could suggest which could change your life permanently. Someone I would like you to introduce to Douglas Hofstadter. You will not understand this man, what he is saying, but like keep watching his things and maybe, yeah, this might awaken something inside of you. Yo, yo, new voice. Shit. He made me sick. Shit, that is like black magic midsummer. You can check out this guy. He is like incredible. Douglas Hofstadter. And he is also funny and he is very complex. He talked about very complex things. Shit, awakening something inside. Okay, shit. And also he fits the plot. Like he's 14 years old. Um, And yeah, I would like say look into him. Look into his work, not into him. And he has written a very complex book called GEB. Shit. Gödel, Escher, Bach, this book. And I have only read 2 pages from the introduction of this book, and I was like blown away. And this is a very, very good book. This is a very good book. And it is also very long. Gödel, Escher, Bach. Gödel was a mathematician. Escher was a artist, and Bach, Bach was Bach, musician. Uh, Johannes Sebastian Bach, compositions. He made music. He was a composer, like Beethoven. And yep, this is a very cool book. Part 1, GEB, Introduction to Musico Logical, offering 3-part inversion. The MU puzzle, 2-part inversion. Sonata for unaccomplished. Achilles, figure and ground. Yeah, he is a polymath. Bach. That title is making my hand at 45 degree. Huh. What? And also, the like second person in the book's title, Escher, MC Escher, he makes drawings. He is an artist. And look at some of his drawings. What is this? Like, that is crazy. That is crazy. This and his work has been adopted into movies. You will see stairs like this in Harry Potter. And yep, look at this. Look at this. This is crazy thing that he draw out. And also there was the stairway, which was in Interception, which was in Inception. Stay. Yep, this one. This was in Inception, and this is there. So yeah, these are cool people. These are cool people. Information. Yo, what is the book about? Digital signal. Nope. Yes, that is so dope because he just had to imagine what he would look like, and then he made the drawing. Blob or sphere. Yeah, this one. Bro had to imagine what he would look like in a sphere. I don't think he would have access to a sphere like this. I don't know. Like maybe he did, but still, drawing this is crazy. Messed up. Bro was a good artist. And this is about he introduces a concept called a strange loop. And then why is there music and such with math? It's because he is trying to unite different fields together and showing and like because I have not read the book, and also there is a concept which he introduces called a strange loop, uh, a strange loop, on which he also wrote a book, Games. I am a strange loop. I think it came out in 29. No, it came out in 27, 2007. So yeah, this concept and like I do not understand this concept, but my limited understanding is that Kurt Gödel proved that in any system where you have axioms as the basics of your logical theory, where you just accept those axioms to be true and you use the model or the method of logic to reach any conclusion, to prove you can either prove a conclusion true, false, or outside the scope of your axioms. Like Euclid gave six axioms for geometry, and using those axioms we can prove multiple things, mm, or disprove things. Shit, why YouTube? Using Euclid's axioms, we can prove that the sum of internal angles of a triangle is 180, and we can disprove that the sum of internal angles of a triangle is 200. So, yep, we can prove something, we can disprove something, or we can say, uh, like, is War and Peace a good book? War and Peace a good book? For something like this, we would say it is outside the scope of the axioms, the theory. And he then moved on to prove that there are some true statements which are true but which cannot be proved by the axioms, even though those true statements were arrived through arranging those axioms in some logical way. Like, I do not understand this completely, so like, yep, I would not be able to prove this, like, explain this. But yeah, he proved somehow Gödel's proof of incompleteness in mathematics. There is a video by Veritasium on this, which is cool. Bro is going to see the book. I studied this last year. Wait, what? You studied this? What is my 10th mark? Wait, you are asking? Drawing, I can't even figure out stuffs from reflection, let alone draw it. Yep. Euclid's example might be the best for this, since fails in, it fails in 3D. Yes, it fails in curved space, which is in 3D. But if you have s- uncurved space in 3D, it works. Mass change might have been even, since it is also intrinsic to charge. Wait, what? Mass or charge might have also been better, since it is also intrinsic to charge. Okay, so you are saying that the concept of charge and mass are intrinsic to an object, like axioms are intrinsic to our theory of proving something. Yep, that is, there are just like multiple interpretations of this thing, which we do not completely understand. Yes, cool. That is cool. Escher is cool. You can draw a triangle with 90 sides on a cube, on a cube, 90 side each. Let's say this is the top surface of the cube, 90 side each, or let's say this is the top surface and we have a triangle of this, and then let's say this is this surface which is supposed to be here. So let's say this is surface number one, this is surface number two, this is surface number two here. On the top, surface number one, we have a triangle, we have just two angles, and this line comes down here, line number, let's say X, and enters here, X, line number X. And shit, we can like actually make this 3D, kind of. That is 4. Shit, no, that is three lines. Shit, that is three lines. Yes, it is three lines. Yep. Line number X comes down here, goes to the right. Second angle, let's call this angle number A, angle number B, and let's call this surface number 3. And okay, we have this as line X, line S, this as line Y. Yep. And here we have surface number 3. On surface number 3, we have line Y coming from the top, and let's call this one line Z coming from the left. And angle number A is 90, angle number B is 90, angle number C is also 90. Yes, you were correct. We can do this. It can be drawn or not drawn on a cube. 3D works in a weird way. Yep. Uh, Curved surface. Here there is no curved surface, but yeah, because of the fact that this is 3D and there is surfaces interacting. Yep. This is a triangle with 90, 90, 90 as each angle. That is cool. Okay. And is game, add game, get game, and now for the start game. No, for the API, we have to update the APIs. For the start game, yep, there is no. Prefix takes in game and expected two arguments. What would they be? A string and then decoration. A like so. Hmm, seems not. Name slash new or read takes in the socket, and the body will have multiple things. We need to add a like sort of decorator or something which tells what the body should look like. Mm. Yeah, I guess I will stream for 30 more minutes because I cannot breathe. Game, create a game, and what are the things expected by this data? Yep. Decorate, how does the decorate thing? No, because of resolve. Yes, we will add another resolve layer, another resolve layer, and this can be query parameter. This can be query parameter. But this is just checking the JWT. So okay, query parameter or how? Async. This takes enough. Okay. Headers. Query. Yeah, this doesn't return anything. But JWT payload location not found somehow. Okay. We have to interface. We need another interface. Zord. We need another Zord interface, which should be common interface. User.ts, which should be in a common folder because front end would also require it. Interfaces dot not dot ts. Okay, internet is still working. Not internet messed up. Or I feel like front end can be learned better if you have some kind of strong motivation to push you out of the unnecessary complexity. If you have some kind of strong motivation to push. Wait, why would I be learning front end better if I guess if I have motivation to push out unnecessary complexity from anything, I would be learning that thing better because to remove complexity, we would have to know the system properly. And yep, that is, I think, a true statement. We would have to know the thing to remove the complexity. So we would have to learn the thing completely or like in a good way. File name, game requests. Sword, we do not need sword validation. We don't need sword validation. Interface, read, game, request will have time, which is a number, increment, which is a number, and color, which is a color. But again, shit. If we in the future decide that we want to change this to something else, then every place, every place where we have defined this interface, we would have to make a change, which is fine. We do not have to worry about refactoring right now. Right now, the main goal is to like make something good. And definition of good is different from the user and the developer standpoint. The thing with front end is after some point you feel like learning assembly is no. It is much simpler to learn assembly. Uh, well, because there are not a lot of moving parts, so yeah, there are only a few tools in assembly that you need, but in React there are a lot of moving parts in front end. Don't really need strong motivation, although it may help, but for front end it feels like it is required. Yep, the first thing is to get it running. Yep, and then slowly chop away the bad things. S- Simpler. Yep, because there are not a million things happening at the same time. It is very manual. Manual. Okay, time. Shit. Internet is fine. Internet is fine. My internet is fine. That is a good thing. Access to light is acting wonky, and my stream might just end. And if it does, yeah, yeah. If it does, then mm, good knowing you. Okay. Start game. Resolve query. Do we send it as query parameter or as body? Let's send this thing as body, and the return type is not this, but rather game. Game create request. Create game request. There are a lot of things here. Game logic is there. Start game. Create legal request. Okay, this is heavily. Function was declared, but neither undefined or that. Okay. Basic, yes, cool. Body, the expected type of the body is something. Body as we gave request. Okay, and yeah, play stream is empty. Not empty, but running, no problem. And this, okay. So what does as even do? Shit, what does as even do? Arena, not AI. Buyer to chat. This is the new one. Wait, what is Max? Intelligently routes you to the most capable model for your specific prompt with latency in mind. Whose mind? In, when I do in TypeScript, when I do const new thing equals old random object as required type. What happens? Claude Opus. Claude. Claude was the name of the guy who invented binary arithmetic, I think. Claude Shannon, who created binary arithmetic. Oh, shit, Leibniz. Okay, my bad. Um, Claude Shannon. What did he do? Wait, oh yeah, thought he was in Jimmy Kimmel show. The thumbnail looked like that. Achievements, awards, father of information. Information is stored as bits. Yeah, mathematical theory of communication, communication theory of secrecy systems. Okay, type assertion. Wait, this is assertion? This is called a type assertion, sometimes called typecast. Here's what happens. You're telling TypeScript compiler, trust me, I know better. Treat this as if its type, it is of type required type. TypeScript will now treat new thing as required type, providing autocomplete, type checking, etc. based on the type. The compiler will skip this, its normal type compatibility checks to a degree. At runtime, absolutely nothing happens, no conversion, no validation. Important implications, it can lie. Random object doesn't, if random object doesn't actually match required type, you will get no runtime error, but things will break when you, okay, so they're like forcing. Current part is, mm, this is cool. Current part is like player 1 comes, player 2 comes, backend now added player 1 in the list, and then saw player 2, and now there were two players. So backend will call a function. This function takes a WS object, WebSocket object for both the players, the like colors of these players, what should be the colors of them, what the time should be, and what the increment should be, and just runs the whole game. And at the end of the game, and this object will validate the moves and tell the other user through the WS object what the other player moved and everything. And then when the game ends, tells which user was the loser and the winner, and then stores the whole, all the moves to the database. That is the current step. Okay. This thing, if wrong, TypeScript doesn't provide type safety net. It won't let you assert between completely unrelated types unknown as number. Okay, yeah, JavaScript. You will know more than the compiler. Okay, at this point, we do not actually know what the type of this body is going to be. So how do we validate? There must be like a standard way to do this. I am making an API that expects some certain kind of 1 minute. Yep, much better. I am making an API that expects some certain kind of body to, not to begin, it is just to begin, that expects a certain kind of body. How do I verify that the body has the key that I am looking for, and also the values also match? Interface is user created, body unknown. Body is something return type of body equals object, and body is not, it should not be equal to null, and name should be in body, this in body. Hey, that is validation. Most popular. Okay, I guess you will be using Zod here. Or like actually, yeah, my like nose is blocking, and I would like to. Uh, yeah, I will continue on this after some time. And for now, I would be ending the stream. And seems, yeah, yeah. And so yeah, this would be today, the end of today's stream. And thank you for being here. We did cover some aspects, and yeah, that is cool. Yeah, cool. And thank you for being here. Bye.